Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Patrons video today that I'm making for BranSi ZHANG as part of their custom monthly music review. And if we switch over to here, on the screen we've got ourselves a track by PowerStation titled The First Tier. So we're going to listen through this track today from start till finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go, let's do it. Just got to remember how Billy Billy works. There we go. We got lyrics as well to check out after this, so let's go. What do we got? Hang on, can I go like at a higher bit rate than this? Can I go for 1080? Oh, what? So you need to be logged in for that. I don't want to log into Billy Billy. I don't want to be logged into Billy Billy. It's alright, we'll help with 360p. I like the sound of the guitars, bass, and drums at this point in time. They sound nice and clear. Repetition of the vocal melody with some jangly kind of reverb-laden guitar parts. Different vocalists. Development within the bridge. Slightly different shift in the vocal intensity. Yeah. The vocals are the focal point and they're glorious in their higher range, for sure. Oh, of course, we have the backing vocalists as well. Fantastic. That great sort of quiet chorus tone to it. Just makes that first half stand out, you know? The guitars are a little bit quiet though. I'm not sure if that's a deliberate thing that the guitars are quiet. The acoustic steel string guitars sound fine, but that steel string lead was a little bit I still could hear it, you know. It's always something I find interesting when I don't understand a language and I just hear someone cry out. I can understand that must be really jarring for people who like don't understand English, for example, and hear people do like death growls and stuff like that, like that kind of stuff. Like it must be really wild for people to hear that and not know what it's about. It's like, why would they feel the need to make that noise? If you know, I get it now. I get it now, you know. I'm wondering if those are custom guitars that they're using, because I can see the signatures on top of the headphone. That was a nice legato run, by the way. Fantastic crescendo run. Fantastic light show as well. Who's playing the guitar solo? Oh, no, don't let this be another one of those positions. No. Oh. I want to say this in a way which sounds reasonable and professional. When someone is watching a concert, like, are these guys playing the solo? Yeah, I wish this guy was in the center of the stage, because I believe that if he's adding this alternate voicing to the song, he deserves his time to shine. You know? I mean, like, that was an incredible lead solo, and I firmly believe having it mixed that low in the volume of the recording kind of makes it a waste of time, because you can barely hear it. And I think that from a mixing perspective, it would have been great if that had that as loud as the vocals were. I just think there was room for improvement. And when I see the scope of the production that they've got in this performance, I am not sure as to why they did not. I'm not sure why the lead guitarist wasn't on stage with them. I'm not sure why. It's a shame, man. I always find that disappointing. Maybe it's just because I've been working with music so long that I don't really... Like Metallica, for example, like, they're my favorite band, but if Kirk Hammett wasn't on stage to do the solos and and James Hetfield does the vocals, but if Kirk Hammett wasn't allowed on stage to be able to do the solos, if they turned his guitar down and the camera wasn't on him, I'd be firmly disappointed by that. In fact, I would go so far as to say that I do not understand why you would focus on the vocalists at all from a video production perspective when they are doing nothing apart from playing the same chords that they've been playing the entire time. I think that when you have a clear focal point that is switched from the vocals, you need to switch it to that in the live production, and they didn't do that here. And I obviously, when they're singing, if there's a drum fill, move to the drum fill. If there's a cool bass part, move to the bass. Let everybody have a go, man. They're part of the band too, Or maybe they're not, but even then they played a sick shred solo. See, now they're focusing on him, but he's not doing anything. It's so silly. Who is this? Who is this person? He's getting more video time than the lead guitarist is. Like, I've seen more random people in the crowd than I have the lead guitarist in this performance. Like, more of the same person in the crowd, should I say. Obviously, you want to show people having a good time. Anyways. Another chorus, okay. Another chorus. And they show that he's doing a solo there for a moment, and then they cut away again. Look at that, like, that wildness he was going. Do you know how difficult that is to do on a guitar? To be able to get that stuff clean? I don't know, maybe he said something rude to the camera person before he went on stage. And the live, maybe he's really difficult to deal with, I don't know. The drummer though, holding that groove though, he's great. Yeah, fantastic head control, vocal tone wise, you know, technique wise, it's fantastic. Cool. I mean that's great. You know, I'm really happy for them. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything at the end. I didn't want to go to the next song. No. Not the next one. And then we've got lyrics kindly provided by Brandon, so thank you to Brandon for sharing these. The first tier. What is this track about? If the breakup is inevitable, please leave me a kiss before you destroy me. So I assume that this is about a relationship which is not going very well, and he just wants it to end and get the pain over with. Why are so many tracks about toxic relationships? Is it like what launches a lot of musicians' careers? Is that like they get into these toxic relationships and it messes them up so much that they have all this music to make about it? I suppose that's it. It really is the great equalizer, isn't it? Human interaction. I don't think it's funny that this guy struggled, don't get me wrong at all, you know, I don't think it's funny that they went through this pain. I've just been reviewing music for a while now, and there's a lot of songs where people are just getting into miserable relationships, and this, I'm hoping this is before they became successful so that they can just leave if they're able to, you know, because like a lot of people can't leave relationships because of like financial reasons, for example, like that one person makes the income and they can't leave. They just don't have the independence. Or there's also cultural limitations, like if you can't get divorced, for example, or something like that. But a lot of these situations seem to be like when they're in their girlfriend and boyfriend, or they're not married, and it's like you never hear the divorce was finalized. Everything is bad. I sold the ring to a pawn shop, you know. I think it's basically about misplaced feelings, and this person finally just became destroyed by the lack of clarity over their relationship. Because this is the conclusion of my review of this track by PowerStation, titled The First Tier. What do I think this track is about? I think this track is about someone. Hang on. So I managed to find managed to find a still shot of the lead guitarist there. So that's me just being a pedantic prick about it. But this is my conclusion of my review of this track, The First Tier by PowerStation. What do I think this track is about? I think this track is about someone who feels a lot of pain about someone that they love, and they made them cry, and there's misplaced feelings and things aren't communicated properly, and it's resulted in heartbreak. They caused the first tear, so to speak, which I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to, so I don't necessarily mind that it's being sung about. I think it makes sense from a songwriting perspective. As I mentioned earlier in the lyrics section, a lot of people relate to that, and that's not good, but it's what it is. That's why music can heal you. It's a great equalizer. It reminds you that even successful musicians face similar problems to us, because it's part of humanity is dealing with people, and it's never easy. The singing was great. I liked the vocals. I think they both had great vocal technique. Head, chest, voice was strong, interesting vocal melodies and harmonies. I liked the concepts they put forward in regards to the little bits of vibratos there, the harmonies together, as well as the backing choir kind of making it sound bigger in the hook lines by being on the sides of the stereo field, just belting out a fortissimo kind of structure there. So that was a nice interest into the chorus there. I like that one singer had the verse and the other had the virgin, and they came together in the chorus. There's a lot of positives there. They sang really well. Fantastic for a live performance. The track at 6 minutes was long, and I don't know if it needed to be 6 minutes. I think that after looking through the lyrics and understanding what they're about, I don't know if it justified it. I don't know if we needed that last chorus, I think that we told the story in the space of the first few verses and choruses. And then we had like a lead solo section, but then in the live performance, without me going on too much about it, we didn't really utilize the lead guitarist well, because he couldn't be heard. Maybe in the original track, there's a solo part here, but like in the original track, there's a studio solo that's played by the guitarists on stage or something like that. It is a shame, in my opinion, that one of the two singers who were the main focal point of the stage didn't play the solo. I don't understand why that is. I don't understand why it was just the two, and the rest of the stage was huge. But again, we're not going down that track. I'm moving on from that because I have to be objective and talk about stuff. And this review cannot be 20 minutes long. I think that the song in general, well, it's already probably 20 minutes long, but the song was written in a way which made sense for what the chorus and verses and bridges need. You know, there were palatable chord progressions with major and minor harmonies, and they had a lot of extensions. Maybe there were some sevenths occasionally, but those are mostly put in by parts on top of it with the vocal melodies or something like that. The bass line was conservative and kind of sat next to the chorus progression's root notes. The drums, there were some fills occasionally, but they kept a solid groove with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it's an eighth note groove with a 1, 2, very slow tempo. That's fine. The guitar parts were great. The steel string motifs played by the musicians on stage were fine. I think that it was one of those songs you kind of vibe along to with a crowd, and I think that's the purpose of it. Don't get me wrong, I understand that not everything is about the shred. I get it. It's just we had 6 minutes, and it would have been nice to have had a different lead element in that 6 minutes. There are lots of bands, I'm not saying this is a bad song, but there are lots of bands who have shown that you can do a lot more different elements in the space of 3 minutes, let alone 6. And it's cool if we want a ballad or like a catchy single or something like that. But I suppose nowadays in 2023, a 6-minute single with this much range wouldn't really fly, at least in the Western music industry, because people are so just attention deficit. They're like, 6 minutes of this would just be too much. It's a banger, but there's so many tracks that are written like this nowadays with these big sounds and these guitars and choirs and stuff like that. Again, not saying it's a bad song. It's just 6 minutes is a long time for the similarity of the motifs there, the lack of change in the leads. But still, you know, it's a catchy track there, and it's obviously very meaningful to the fans. So to emphasize, I'm not trying to shit on it. It's just how I see it as a reviewer more than anything. I have to be honest with these reviews. Aside from the lack of different lead tonalities there, the instruments were played well. There wasn't a note out of place. I think that the note choices for the different sort of like chorus melodies and hook lines were great there. There were variations in the intensities of the vocals in the center field. You know, like we were truly passionate about what we're doing. The singers genuinely cared about what they were singing. And while the sort of motif and accompaniment was sometimes honestly seemed like an afterthought, just due to the vocals being such a focal point within it, I just think that last third of it could have had some extra kind of zazz to it. It seemed like we were just kind of extending it just for the sake of extending into another final chorus and then finishing. And yeah, man, I mean, it's cool. That's just the thing people are into, and that's fine, you know. Different strokes for different folks, we can agree to disagree. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering, it was a great live take. I think that the sound of the production there, the recording, the instruments were nicely sort of captured, the performance was captured. It was a great performance without a note out of place. The lead guitar was too quiet. The vocals were dominant in the mix. The guitars, bass, and drums were fine together. Maybe it was just, again, I think it's just maybe even the sound engineer just had the guitars too low. Maybe it was the way it was captured and there was an issue with the file playback, but I'm trying to sort of play devil's advocate for like a band in $1 million stadium, so I don't really think that's necessarily fair, you know, to anyone. I think that it was nice and wide in the stereo field. There was dynamic range to this. I did appreciate when the choir vocals came in to really kind of elevate it. The sound of the bass and the low end was kind of like compact and kind of neatly arranged alongside the punchiness of the 80s reverb-soaked drums. It sounded like a timeless track that I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate, and I'm sure the people at that concert had a hell of a time. They're having a great time. It's cool. I'm glad they enjoyed themselves. I do think it's a well-written song. It kind of works well within sort of the pop rock kind of genre. I mean, it is classic rock basically, eh? And it's good stuff. I'm not going to say the mixing was good because I don't think it was that good, but most of it was okay. The filtering, EQing of the vocals, everything else was good. The sounds of them were good. I just wish that things had been more evenly kind of mixed. But it was nice and loud without pumping, and this is effectively my review. My SP Patrons video for PowerStation, my first tier or the first tier. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go check out their various social medias, and I'm sure this will be on Spotify and all that kind of stuff. And stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next SP Patrons video. Spiderhands out.